we are going to discuss about R functions or function in R. So you need to remember that a function is actually a set of statements that we try to organize them together to perform a specific task. So it depends on you. In R, we have large of number. If you use certain packages, you already have that inbuilt function. We just need to recall them. We just need to call their function. But then you need to know what kind of package that you use. So in R, there is a function is an object. So the R interpreter is able to pass control to the function. So we need to have the correct argument for the function for it to be accomplished. So we are going to try to define the function. So the standard function that we have, this is an example function definition. So you need to have the function name and then what is the function, and then you need to fulfill the argument. If you have more than one argument, you need to fulfill all the argument, and then you need to have the function body, and then you can run the function after you call for the function later. Alright, so next you need to know what are the component in the function. It depends on you. R has so many inbuilt functions, so sometimes you just need to call the function. You don't really have to create one like you use C++ to do so. And let's try to take a look at the built-in function that we have. So first I'm going to create a sequence of numbers from 32 to 44. So this is the function. This is what we already have in R. So this is what we call as function. So we need to print the number, the sequence start from 32 up to 44. So if you want to do this, you need to run this one, and then you are going to get the value. So we have 32, 33, 34 until 44. So this is sequence. So the sequence, what are the function? This is the function for sequence. R already have this, so you do not have to define the function yourself like what we used to do in C++. So this is the base. We do not use any packages right now. So let's say we want to find the mean numbers. So I'm going to copy this. So, okay, find mean of numbers from 25 to 82. So the first one that we need to do is actually to print the mean. And then you already have this 25. This is also some kind of sequence, 25 up to 82. The simplest way to write this one. So if you run this function, you are going to get the answer, the final answer, straightforward to the final answer. So next, let's try more built-in function that we have. So this one, the function that we use in this is actually to calculate the mean. So the next function that we are going to do is to find the sum of numbers from 41 to 68. So what do you have to do? We need to write the print so that we can see the output later. So sum, this is the function summation from 41 up to 68. So if you click run for this, we are going to get the summation of the value. So this is the values. So we have three kinds of functions. So this one is the function that we use is actually for sum. This is sequence. This is mean. This is to calculate the summation. So this is what we already have in R. You do not have to create, you do not have to do the function name, you do not have to write the function body, you just have to use it because someone else already do that behind the scenes. So R actually have the detail behind this, but then since we already have that function, we just need to call the function name. In this case, we have the sequence, we have the mean, we have the summations. So this is just the example of built-in function in R. There's so many kinds of function that you can use. You can Google it. You can have so many kinds of function, built-in function. But let's say if you want to try to do some user-defined function that you always do in C. Alright, so let's copy the command line. Okay, so this is to create a function to print squares of numbers in sequence. So first you need to remember in a function you need to have function name. So this is the function name, new dot function. This is the name, and then you are trying to assign the argument. So the function that we call is A. So the argument, and then this is the function body. So the function body actually contains a collection of statements that define what the function does. So right now we are trying to square the numbers in sequence. So first of all, you need to sequence the number. So the iteration, the I, so this is the value in 1 until 8. So the highest value, you're going to key in the value later on. So what you are going to do is actually, we are trying to print B. B is actually the power, the squares of the numbers in the sequence. So this is the new function. So let's try, if you run this one, so what happened? Let's see. Okay. So there's nothing happen. So but then if you look at the environment over here, so before this we only have the data set, and then we have the values, and then we have the new one in the environment. We already have function. So this is the name of the function, new dot function. Alright, so let's try to run for that. So we call new dot function. So the sequence that you want start from, if you notice over here, you start from 1 until to what number do you want? So let's try to put number 6. So what happened actually? Let's try to run the function. Okay, this is what happened. So from 1 to 6. So you need to bring the squares of numbers in sequence. So the sequence that I choose right now start from 1 up to 6 because I put the argument over here 6. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, and then 6 square is 36. So this is what you want. So we have the function names, and then this is the argument that we key in the values later on, and then this is the function body. In the function body, you need to define what the function are trying to do, and then the last one you print the value B. So this is what we have. So this is what we call as user-defined function. I think you're already familiar with this one. This is what we usually do in C++ sometimes. You define the function yourself. Let's try to call a function without an argument. So this one, let's try to put it something. What is the argument? You need to remember this is the name. So this is the body. So this is the argument. So let's try to define this one. I'm going to copy paste. Okay. To create a function without an argument. So if you notice, the difference between these two is actually this one, the variable A, the argument inside the bracket. We do not have A in this bracket. So for I in 1, the sequence until number 5. So this one, the differences, we already put the value. So you do not have to define actually for this kind of user-defined function, because you already put the value. Right here, you just put A because you want to key in the value. Let's say you want to have value 6. So for this one, you do not have any choice. if you call new function without the argument inside the bracket, so let's see what happened. First, we need to run this code. All right, and then after that, we call the function without supplying an argument. So let's see what happened. So if you notice over here, since we already state in the sequence, we want number 1 up to number 5. So 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, and then 5 square. And then that's it. Because in the definition, in the body function, we already put that the highest value is 5. So this is an example if you are trying to create a function without an argument. For the next one, let's try to call a function with argument values by position and by name. Okay. What happened? Okay, we paste it in the script. Okay, so create a function without a function with argument, but then the difference right now, we have the name, the function of the name, and then this is the body, this is the argument. We have A, B, C. So this is in R it is very particular. If you key in the argument later on, the way you place the number, let's say 1 equals to A, so 1 you have to put 1 in the exact positions. So if 1 is A, so next you need to key in 1 and then B, C. So this is very particular with the position and with the name. So the results that we want to print in this body function, so the results is that we are trying to call the results, and then in the result we assign that A must be multiplied with B and then we plus with C. And after that we print the result. So let's see what happened. First we need to run this function, and then let's try to key in the value. So let's say a new function, and then I want to have 5, A equals to 5, and then B equals to 3, and then C equals to 11. So the position must be correct. So let's see what happened, the values. So in this kind of the results, the formula of the result is actually A multiplied with B. So 5 multiplied with 3, actually we got 15, and then you plus with 11. The final answer will be 26. So let's try to do something such as you put the name. Let's say you want to define that A equals to 11 and then B equals to 5. You put the exact value. C equals to 3. So let's see what happened for this kind of argument. So you're going to get 58. So this is the value. So what we do actually, the first way that we do over here, this is actually what we call as, we are calling the function by position of arguments. So this is what we call as positions. We call 5 and then 3. So since we put 5 first, so automatically 5 is equal to A. So this is the position of argument. And then for this one, this is actually what we call the function by names of the argument. So we know that A are going to be read first. So A equals to 11. So B equals to 5, and then C equals to 3. Okay. So next, in function, let's try to create a function with arguments. So create a function with argument. So this is the name of the function. So in the argument we have A, we have B, and then this is the body in the body, and after that we print the results. And then okay, so this is let's try to call what we have done before without putting any argument in the box. So what happened? So let's try to run this one. First run this one, and then after that try this one. So you're going to get 18. Why? Okay, first we actually already have the value for the A and for B. So regardless whether you put the value or not, you are going to get the answer. So this is what happened in this kind of function. So this is what we call as call the function without giving any argument. So let's try to call the function, but then this one we put new values in the argument. So you have to remember we already defined in the body in the argument that A equals to 3, B equals to 5. Right now we are trying to actually giving new values to the argument. Let's say you do not want A to be 3, so let's put 9, A equals to 9, and then B equals to 5. Let's see what happens. So the new answer that you have is actually 45. So this is some of the ways that you can do for your function. Depends on you. So what we learned today is about the function in R. So first, there are two ways. First, we already have function in R. It depends on what kind of package that you use. So you need to know, let's say you want to use ggplot. So you in ggplot2, we already have several functions in ggplot2. You just need to know what are the functions that you want to use. Or if you're lazy enough, you can create your own function, what we have done right now. This is what we discussed. We are creating user-defined function. So you need to have the name of the function, and then this is the argument, and then this is the body. What will happen in the function. Alright. Okay, argument. Okay, let's try to do some exercise. So what will happen? Okay, I'm going to copy the command lines. So we are creating a new function with argument. So the name, we just use the same name, new function. And then in the argument, we have A and then we have B. And then inside the body, we are trying to print A squares, and then we print A, and then we print B. So we have three output in this case. The previous one we only have one print, so that's means we only have one output. So let's try to run these our functions. So let's key in new function. So new function, I'm going to call sometimes, okay, let's say you just put 6 and then you run this function. So let's see what happens. Okay, so since we in the function we are trying to print A square, so for A square, since we put 6, so 6 automatically, this is the position of A, so A equals to 6, so at A square will be 36, and then for print A is the exact value, so in this case we are calling 6, so that's why they are printing 6. And then for the third output, we are trying to print B. So in this case, we only put 6 in the position of A, and then there's no value for B. So what happened is that error in print B. Why? The argument B is missing with no default, because we do not define any value for B. So this is why we have error in print B. Okay, so that's all for today. This is what we learned today about the function in R. So this is just introduction to R. You can do so many things with R. You just need to Google it. Okay, so thank you.